Coming up, a fellow veteran speaks out about helping search for a missing West Fargo man. And Russian strikes continue on Ukrainian cities. Plus, local veterans are preparing for a trip of a lifetime. Valley News Live at 10 starts now.
This is Valley News Live at 10.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. I'm Nishay Taylor. Yesterday, dozens of people searched through Cottonwood Park in Bismarck in hopes of finding 38-year-old Daniel Olsen of West Fargo after he went missing back in October. And a fellow veteran Olsen once served with is playing a key role in helping find him. Valley News Team's Alex Larson has more.
Lots of looking and lots of searching yesterday and just no trace.
Matt Jamison of Bismarck has been an instrumental part of helping find Daniel Olsen, who went missing nearly 5 months ago. He says the two met back in 2005 while they were both serving in Iraq.
He was a really quiet individual until you got to know him.
Jamison, along with other friends and family, say they are heartbroken that there have been very little clues on where to find Olsen.
A big question mark. The family has no idea where he could possibly be. We have no idea where he could possibly be. And just, the thought that he's out there somewhere, it's kind of disheartening.
Volunteers covered a huge portion of their search area in Bismarck, hoping to find him.
We had the volunteers as far as, guys in the Army that were with Danny, and North Star, 15 individuals, numerous dog teams, boat teams, dive teams, drone teams. So it was a huge operation yesterday.
But through it all, there are still no signs of Olsen. His family told us that he suffers from PTSD. And Jamison says the situation is now serving as a reminder for veterans to speak up about their mental health.
It's a silent killer, and it's really important, especially for people that serve together, to be open and willing to talk about experiences to one another, especially in family. I think it's kind of a double-edged sword. If they're too quiet and they don't want to talk about it, then it's going to cause even more issues inside.
Alex Larson, Valley News Live.
Meanwhile, this afternoon, Fargo police officers were called to Essential on 32nd Avenue South for a response to an incident involving a juvenile. FPD says the juvenile has been detained and was not harmed in this situation, but at this time, it's unclear what caused the incident. So stay with Valley News Live as more details become available. Tonight, more on the war between Ukraine and Russia. New drone video from the besieged city of Mariupol in Ukraine shows the devastation caused by Russian forces. The city has been under heavy bombardment for weeks. The video shows the results, block after block of damaged or destroyed residential buildings. Russian and Ukrainian forces have been engaged in heavy fighting as both struggle for control of the city. Mariupol is normally home to about 400,000 people. The true horrors of Russia's occupation in Ukraine were revealed this weekend as Russian strikes on Ukrainian cities continue. Cole Higgins has more, but we want to warn you, the video you are about to see may be graphic.
Odessa under attack Sunday morning. A Russian missile strike hitting an oil refinery and fuel depot in the key southern Ukrainian port city. To the northwest of the capital, Kyiv, in Bucha.
It is a brutality against civilians we haven't seen in Europe for decades.
New disturbing images show a mass grave with bodies wrapped in black plastic bags. And alarming video shows more than a dozen bodies strewn across the streets of the village, which has seen some of the heaviest fighting since the start of the war.
Indeed, this is genocide.
We believe that Russian forces have committed war crimes, and we've been working to document that.
Despite the evidence, Russia claims the extensive footage from Bucha is fake. Some good news: Ukrainian prisoners of war rescued from Russian forces and returning to Kyiv. A senior Ukrainian defense official claims the region of Kyiv is now liberated from Russian forces. But NATO Secretary General warns that Ukraine and the world shouldn't let down their guard.
What we see is not a real withdrawal, but we see that Russia is repositioning its troops. The attacks will continue.
During his visit to Malta, Pope Francis.
Let us now pray to her for peace as we think of the humanitarian tragedy in martyred Ukraine. still under the bombings in a sacrilegious war.
I'm Cole Higgins reporting.
Former President Donald Trump says Russia invading Ukraine never would have happened if he was still the president. Trump made those comments last night at a rally in Michigan. He blamed President Joe Biden for what he described as the Ukraine disaster.
But this invasion of Ukraine would never have happened if I was in the White House. Not even a chance. Would have never happened. Would have never happened. Not even. And I knew Putin very well. You know, they say, oh, he knows Putin. He knows Putin. Oh, that's a good thing, not a bad thing.
Trump also hinted that he may run again in 2024. American businesses and government agencies have been on high alert for potential Russia-based cyber attacks since the start of the war in Ukraine. But that warning increasingly includes the American healthcare system, which has been targeted in the past. But it may be even more vulnerable now with the rapid advance in cloud-based information storing that began with the COVID pandemic. The American Hospital Association issued an alert the day after the war began, and in recent days, the warnings from the Biden administration have intensified. Your medical records not only contain information on your health and identity, but also financial information. Unlike ransomware, which locks up information until money is paid, the goal of Russian military intelligence might be to actually destroy information in order to create chaos in the healthcare system. More than 85 veterans from Minnesota and North Dakota will soon take a trip of a lifetime. The honor flight is returning after 2 years. Valley News Team's Aaron Walling brings us the story.
Big return after being on hiatus for over 2 years due to the COVID-19 pandemic.
I was in pretty good shape when I started out when they had it, and then they postponed it, but I'm still going to try and go.
And many veterans, including this 93-year-old, are now getting their chance to fly to D.C. to be a part of the ceremony.
I told my daughter, I said, be ready to take a lot of pictures, because I want to take a lot of pictures when I see all this stuff.
Veterans from the different conflicts throughout history gathered at the Moorhead Armory as they prepare for their journey. Some of those also making the trip is this trio of brothers.
I think it'll be one of the highlights of my life. You know, it's a real honor.
They served in the late 50s and early 60s. The brothers say now they have the opportunity to be together in the nation's capital, making their mother proud.
We're all alive and well and healthy as we could be at 80-some years old.
I don't know what it's going to be like. I might be standing here in tears, who knows, because I am very sensitive.
Unfortunately, not every veteran will get the chance to go on this year's flight, as some have passed on within the last 2 years. And this year they will be honored at the ceremony in D.C. But overall, the organizers say they are just grateful to have the honor flight back up and running.
Emotional, yeah. We're so excited for today. Couldn't wait for this day to come. It's been 2.5 years, and so we're ready.
In Moorhead, Aaron Walling, Valley News Live.
The flight is set to head out at the end of the month. Later on Valley News Live at 10, a new study says an astonishing 70% of drivers have sneaked a peek or used their phone while behind the wheel. But up next, temperatures could get close to the 60s next weekend, but before we can even enjoy it, a rain-snow mix is expected to hit the region right in the middle of the week.